Welcome to the Cardiovascular Pulse, where we dive into medical breakthroughs, leading technology, and healthy lifestyles. Join us as we empower you on your journey to a healthier and stronger you. Today, we are joined by Dr. Bart Denys. He is an interventional cardiologist at the Cardiovascular Institute of the South in Thibodaux, and he's been here for about 30 years now. Welcome, Dr. Denys.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here, and certainly glad to be here for 30 years. That makes me definitely an integral part of our community here, which I absolutely love, because a little known fact is that initially I was here only for 1 year. I took a sabbatical, and I fell in love with the community, and I have been ever since.
Well, you know I love Thibodaux too, and I've been here for a while myself. So today we're going to talk about prevention and the importance of prevention as it relates to cardiovascular disease. Everything from when you should see a cardiologist to what risk factors or symptoms you may have, and the importance of being checked. So let's start off. Tell us, why is it so important to catch this disease before it hits?
Well, Beverly, you know I am an interventional cardiologist, and we fix things. And it's very sexy to talk about new stents, new lasers, new drills, and all these exciting technology and advances that we see. But at the very core, whenever we have to fix something, we have missed the boat. We could have prevented this. If you go to your mechanic and the engine is locked up, it's too late. If you just would have changed the oil on a regular basis, you would not have had the problem. And that's how I see prevention. And what makes it particularly difficult in our degree of prevention is that everything we treat does not hurt. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity, smoking, and diabetes. None of this hurts, but bring it all together and you end up with a locked up engine. Thankfully, we can't fix you at that time, but I would so much more likely see you before. And the most common answer I get when I ask, okay, you should be checked out. I see your dad died at age 45, or your mother has diabetes, you're a little overweight and smoking is bad. It's always, yeah, doc, but I feel good. And I want you to feel good, but I also want you to continue to feel good. And in order to do that, it takes a little effort to have yourself checked out. And when do you need to check out? Let me start with the beginning. We know that cholesterol buildup and the beginning of blockages starts at age 18 in our teens. And it takes 20, 30, 40, 50 years sometimes before it causes any problems. So as a rule of thumb, look at your parents. If your dad had a first heart attack at 45, you definitely have to come and see me way before that. And I would say in your early 20s would be great. If on the other hand, your dad is 100 years old, okay, come and see me when you're 50. But as a basic rule, everything taken into account, I would say women around the menopausal age of 50 and males likely 10 years before that. With a caveat, if you have more than one risk factor, and you will know if cholesterol is high, you have diabetes, you have high cholesterol, you're overweight and you smoke, make that 10 years earlier. And we're probably going to be much, much closer by.
I love the analogy that you make to the car engine because it's so true. We take care of our vehicles, we get the oil change, we take care of our homes. There are so many things on our list to take care of, so our heart health should be at the top of the list.
Oh, it is. It always surprises me. I can ask my male patients, oh, nice truck you have there, what's your tire size? And they will give me the great explanation of what they have and how it works. And then I ask them, what's your blood pressure? What's your cholesterol? And I'm like, I don't know, but I feel good. And so it's usually, cars are an easy way for me to start a conversation. People ask, well, what does it involve to have a checkup? And I compare it to buying a car. First you go to the showroom, you open the doors, you look at the color, you sit and see, you do the vroom vroom. That's an ultrasound. And the ultrasound shows me what the chamber size is, what the thickness is, what the valves is, the whole information, how the heart sits together. And then what you do, you take it for a spin. And we like to see either if you can a treadmill or an alternative test, but it shows me how well in shape you are or not, what the blood pressure does, what the heart rate does, what the EKG does, and it gives me this whole set of information, which is the baseline. And then importantly, we look at where are you in the scheme of things, which is risk. And there are two tests that we have for that. If you're older and more risk factors, we do a calcium score. And the calcium score is a mini CAT scan, goes over the heart and measures the amount of calcium in the blood vessels of the heart. And then we compare it to a group of individuals your age. Needless to say, if you have more than average, puts you at high risk. If you're less, puts you at a lower risk. And we will treat you accordingly so that we can reach the optimum level of cholesterol, blood pressure, and whatever else we do for your condition. If you are younger, in the 40s, or if you're a younger female, since it takes a long time to develop calcium, we do a test called the CIMT. And the CIMT uses the carotid ultrasound, and it measures the thickening of the arteries. And we have data starting at age 25. So we can really very early on identify what your risk is. So these two tests let us, non-invasively, we don't have to stick you in anything, we don't have to do an IV. The test takes about 10-15 minutes, and we have a great idea where you stand in the scheme of things. Now, to compare the CIMT to the calcium score, think about a leaky faucet. First it is wet, that's the CIMT, the early thickening. And if the faucet has been leaking for long enough time, you get the crud around it. And the crud is basically the buildup of calcium in the arteries of the heart. So there's an earlier detection and a later detection for heart disease.
That is so helpful to understand those different levels, and all of these diagnostics are available here at CIS in Thibodaux.
Oh, absolutely. We are able to treat and address everything that is needed in-house. Whether it is a CT scan for the calcium score, ultrasound for the heart and the carotids, whether it involves more in-depth studies for peripheral vascular disease, for electrophysiology. I am fortunate to work in a group and in an environment where I have colleagues that are specialized in each of these things. I mentioned veins. I do not treat veins, but I have colleagues right here that do that exactly for me and provide the best case for my patients.
I know that you're passionate about seeing patients here in the clinic before you would see them in a cath lab.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would love to see everybody here and nobody in the cath lab, because emotionally I can never separate myself from the feeling that, look, all right, it's a success. We opened this artery, we solved this blockage, but we missed the boat that started sailing 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago.
And I think all of that goes back behind our CIS mission of providing the highest quality cardiovascular care available. We want to prevent before we have to treat.
And absolutely, I keep being impressed by the totality of care that we can provide with my different colleagues. I definitely know what high quality care is, and I found it here, because there's no way that I could regress from what I was used to. And we've been very, very fortunate that we had the support of the community, the integration, and I have wonderful patients. Yeah, an example is bypass surgery. You hear the word, oh my God, when you got bypass surgery, 10 years and that's it. Well, I can tell you, with the quality of care and the methodology that we have available, I have patients who had bypass surgery in 1994, 30 years ago when I came here first, and are still doing well. Some of them even walking on a treadmill. And that is my greatest personal and professional satisfaction, to see people live a full life. You know, Bevy, We do not control how long we live. There's 100 things, and there's other forces at hand. Okay, we can run under a bus, you can get killed, all kinds of things can happen. But if we can at least provide you with the highest quality of life in the years that we have been given, then I think we have reached our goal.
We know that the best way to fight heart disease truly is to prevent it right from the start.
I cannot stress it enough. I cannot stress it enough. And we do whatever we can to get that message out to people. And I am happy to see that message is in the community, because I see a lot more people who have no symptoms but say, look, my dad died. You saw my mother in the past and she had disease, and I do not want to go that route. And that makes me happy, because we can literally telling people, my joke is, look, I will give you the 200,000 miles, 100-year warranty. And it's a rolling joke. I see people 1 year later and they said, oh, doc, I have 1 year less now. I'm like, well, yeah, but it's still 29 years.
So certainly if you're listening and you haven't seen a cardiologist, or maybe you haven't seen one in a while, maybe you've missed your last checkup, we urge you to come in and see someone, get some more baseline testing, and see where you're at.
Absolutely. Know your blood pressure, your cholesterol. You know that smoking is bad. Have your diabetes controlled or have it checked. Everything we do here is painless. And I can assure myself nor my colleagues, we don't bite. You will actually like the experience. We have a very pleasant and well-experienced staff. And talk to your friends, and they will confirm that we try to provide an open, friendly, and happy environment.
Well, we've learned so much today. Thank you, Dr. Denys, for joining us.
Absolute, my pleasure. As long as we get the message out, Bevy.
We hope that this has empowered you on your health journey. If you have health concerns, visit cardio.com to learn more or request an appointment. Make sure to follow this podcast as well as CIS on social media for updates. Thanks for listening.